The reason why I didn't like immediately continue on carrying with my theory and with my practical is that I have doubts actually whether I really want this or not. But anyway, hey guys, it's Danica and welcome back to my channel. To those who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Danica. I'm a registered nurse in the Philippines and also here in the UK. If you're new here in this channel, then please click on the subscribe button below and also the bell button beside it so that you will be notified every time that we have an update. Alright guys, for today's video, we will be talking about the provisional license here in the UK and also the theory test, which I have just done like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, so it's really fresh. So I bet you already know what the result is because I am filming happily. So yes, if you guys are interested in this video, then please keep on watching. Alright guys, disclaimer before we finally proceed with, about driving here in the UK. Actually, I had a video before why I don't need a car here in the UK. To be honest, I still feel the same. I don't feel like having a car here in the UK is mandatory because, to be honest, the transportation here is pretty good, I'd say. But just in case later on, which I've said as well in my previous vlog, if I plan to be an agency nurse, you need to kind of drive. It's just more easier for you and more practical as well, I'd say. But yeah, and that's the reason why. So I'm not rushing this as well. I feel like it's always nice to have a car anyway, be able to drive here in the UK, but if you can't, I feel like it's still fine. So first, it's actually been dragged for quite some time now. I had my provisional license maybe almost 2 years ago now. The reason why I didn't like immediately continue on carrying with my theory and with my practical is that I have doubts actually whether I really want this or not. Anyway, if you are not like a British citizen here, there's gonna be a different, just make sure you pick the right one when you apply for your provisional license. So way back then, the provisional license actually took quite some time, maybe 2 to 3 months, and I'd say it's a bit scary because you need to send your original biometric residence permit, which is your BRP, to them, and then they will return it as well by post. I think for the provisional license, if I'm not mistaken, it's around £30, but I'll put it somewhere here on the screen for you guys to have an idea how much it actually costs to have your provisional license. So what is a provisional license here in the UK? So that means you can drive. If you're accompanied, you can like practice driving if you're accompanied with someone else who's aged 18 years old and above and who has a valid driving license for the past like 3 years. So there are some rules actually about that. And then the next thing you do, which I just did, is to actually pass your theory test. So before you can actually have your practical driving test, you want to have your theory test first. With the provisional license, it actually lasts for, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 10 years. So you have like, all that time to actually accomplish your theory. The theory test, the validity of that is 2 years. So in the span of 2 years, you should complete your practical as well and pass it. And if you actually fail or if you're unable to do so, after 2 years, you need to repeat your theory test again. So yes, let's talk more about the theory test actually. So as you all know, I've already said I've taken it today. A few minutes ago, I thought I was gonna fail, but luckily I actually passed. I was so happy. I have doubts. I mean, I'm pretty confident just before I take the exam, but I guess in whatever test you take, when you are there, you're gonna feel nervous and you feel like, oh, I'm gonna fail this one now. But yeah, thank goodness, thank God, I actually passed. So let me just talk through about the theory test. It's actually difficult to book a theory test. It might take you maybe 2 months from the day you're trying to book, because this one I tried to book in Turkey before I relocate, but there's no early like booking. So I managed to book here in Truro for March, so there's like a 2 months from the date I actually wanted to book it. So yeah, what you need to have before you book your theory test is your biometric residence permit and your provisional license. So you need to get your provisional license first before you can book for any theory test. So yes, and you just apply online. Depends on what you are actually gonna drive, but for car, I think it's around £25. Again, I'm gonna put it here on the screen if that's incorrect. But yeah, you need to pay £25 to book for your theory test. The theory test is composed of actually 2 parts. The first one is a multiple choice, which is composed of 50 questions, and you need to answer 43 to pass. And the next part would be a hazard perception test, which is up to 75, but you only need to score 44 points. So the hazard perception part is actually an interactive test. So I'm gonna share it to you what I actually use to pass my driving test. I actually just used the app. So it's called Theory 4-in-1. So I paid $4.99, I think. It's unlimited already. It's not just theory test. There's hazard perception, there's driving lessons, highway code, road signs. So it's pretty good, but there are loads of different like apps here anyway for your theory test. And also I tried to answer like free mock tests as well on the internet. Yeah, I think it all helped. Actually, it was just maybe 2 weeks ago that I actually knew there was like hazard perception test on your theory. I'd say it took me like 2 months to review. So this 2 months I didn't like review like super hard, but what I did was like at least every day you answer a few questions because you can. So slowly but surely I built up my confidence. Initially when I was trying to answer the first few days, I was trying to, you know, review this as well, like wow, this is crazy, it's super different in the Philippines. So yeah, you just need to take time. I'd say I initially thought most people would actually pass the first time, but apparently some people do take it twice before they actually pass, so I really got lucky today. What do you expect when you go in the theory test? As you enter the theory test center, you'll only be asked for your provisional license. So that's what you need to give them, and then they'll just gonna check it, and then they'll ask you to turn off your phone. Like literally you need to show them that you've turned it off, and then your coat and your bag will be put in a locker, which will just be there anyway, and you can only take your ID and your key for the locker inside the theory test. So the lady was, all the staff here in Truro actually was brilliant. They're very nice. The lady just asked me before I finally actually entered the room to just, you know, put my hair up and like make sure like I don't have anything on my pocket. I was called in a corner just before I actually entered the exact room, and then there's a guy who explained everything, and if I need help I just need to actually raise my hand. Actually there's a 3-minute gap between the multiple choice part and before you proceed to the hazard test, but that's optional, and with that 3-minute break you can only just, you know, stay on your seat anyway. I didn't take my 3 minutes, I just, you know, go on next. So there will be tutorials as well on how it operates. It's via computer, guys. Sorry if I forgot to mention that. And also I forgot to say that they will hand you a laminated like paper, and you can read it while you're waiting to be called and just have a look like what's gonna happen, what is expected in the test and stuff like that, so you would know about the instructions and everything that you need to know about the test. Basically you just sit there and then take the test. On the hazard perception test you might need to have the headphones, which is just there on your desk, and yes, it will instruct you how to do it. So basically with the multiple choice you can flag the questions you wanna, you know, return to if you're not sure. It will give you an hour to actually finish the 50 questions for the multiple choice part, and then after that like a 3-minute gap before you actually proceed with the hazard perception test. It's composed of 14 clips, so you can score 5 points on each clip. So in the hazard perception test you actually watch a video. The video has no sounds, but then it feels like it's like a simulation, like you're driving, and then if you see an approaching or like a potential hazard, that's when you click the mouse, and then there's gonna be a red flag, which means you identified it as an hazard, and the red flag would mean it registered on the system. So you can't just click all the way through, because it will actually warn you. It will like pop a message that you will score 0 because you've been clicking on a pattern or you've been clicking too much. So you really need to think before you click. So I'd say it's quite actually good in the hazard perception part, because out of 75 hazards you just need to score 44. I think that's just very reasonable, because then, you know, it's very difficult for me actually to say like did I did it right or wrong? So yeah, I scored 49 out of 75, which is actually pretty good, I'd say. So let me just clarify, you don't need to finish the whole time that's been given to you. As soon as you finish, then you can go. But yeah, so after that, I was just asked to like grab my things, and then they're gonna call me. It just takes like few seconds, and then the lady in the reception called me, and I was just asked to hand over my provisional license again, just to double check. And then she printed it out for me and handed over to me this paper with my provisional license. And then of course it scared me because, oh my gosh, like when she handed over, she's actually handing it over like the page, like the part where I actually passed or failed. So I kind of see, oh my gosh, it's a pass. So I was actually smiling when I went out of the test center, because hooray, I had a feeling I might fail, like, you know, like one score less than the passing, but thank God, really, I passed. That's amazing, actually. Ooh, so it will say here certificate number. It explains everything that you need a certificate number before you actually book for your practical test, and the expiry date is 2 years from now, so March 2, 2025. I think theory test, if you just reviewed enough, just feel confident and you can pass it the first time. Just don't take it super lightly. I had to say I had that feeling that I can just take it lightly, but later on I realized, okay, better safe than sorry. So yes, that is my driving journey. So yeah, maybe actually it's quite expensive to have your driving lessons here. I plan to take an automatic one. Okay, I know you'd say like just go for manual because that's real driving and stuff, but I believe like later on, like a few years, it will be all like electric vehicles, and I feel like manual cars would be, you know, phased out at some point. But yeah, this is just a, you know, my personal view anyway. So yes, I'm gonna update you guys on my driving journey once I started to, you know, find a good like driving agency for that. And yes, thank you for watching this video, and I hope this helps, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.